We're back. It's Calling Out with Susan Pinsky. I'm here with Kyle Thomas, astrologer du jour, and my dog Rex, who's panting under the, he's kissing Kyle right now. I don't know if you can see his little nosy over here sticking out. I thought he hadn't been fed, but apparently he has. Anyways, welcome to Calling Out with Susan Pinsky. We're here today to call out COVID-19. Using astrology to figure out the numbers and how the planets crash together and the Mercury and retrograde way above my pay grade, but that's why I have Kyle here. Welcome, Kyle.
Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be on camera with you. We've been talking about this for a while. She's so stunning and lovely. And thank you for giving us a platform to talk about these situations and how we are all actually being affected by cosmic factors that really do predict. We can predict using them, but we can also create our lives with better means when we use them in a very positive current.
Right. Kyle works for Astrology.com, and you can find him at Mr. Kyle Thomas on Instagram and Twitter as well.
Yes.
And Facebook. And, I don't know, he's all over the place, but he writes for Astrology.com, and he wrote a very nice article about the COVID-19.
Oh, wait.
What's the matter? Lindsay's having a little fit. What's wrong?
You totally cut out.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Okay, well, can anybody hear me out there? I can see on the restream if people can hear me.
Okay.
Sounds good. I mean, everybody is, oh, there's an echo. Okay. We have a new engineer today, and I think that here's the deal, Lindsay. You have to go to the, on the restream, you have to go, I mean, on the OBS, there's a part that says, okay, I'm going to do this. I'm going to go behind the...
I can talk about Mercury retrograde.
I'm going to let Kyle talk about Mercury in retrograde, and then I'll be right back.
Well, on that note, I just want to say hello to everyone that is out there. So thank you for joining us today. There is a Mercury retrograde that is going on right now. And one thing that we can always see with Mercury retrograde is that there are a little bit of difficulties in communication, technology, anything like that, which is another reason why, people may be not on the same page at this time. And also you may have noticed your phone is freaking out or your computer is freaking out or anything like that. So when it comes to retrogrades, we actually can learn from them and work with them and, ultimately to improve our lives and our relationships by being conscious of how they're affecting us. Right. So for instance, obviously with a little bit of snafus that we're having with the technology, that's okay. And we can obviously laugh it off for a second because no matter where you are, we're all going to be dealing with that same kind of. So yeah, that's just a little,
I fixed the echo. Yay. Thank you for telling us on Restream. My headphones are a little hot, so you can turn them down a little bit. So we're trying a new way of running this show. We're having a startup situation, so we'll learn as we go. It's always fun. So I can be on camera.
Yes.
I don't know. Some people want to see me on camera, I guess. But
yes, I do.
If you want to see me on camera, raise your hand on Restream. So anyways, we're going to be taking calls today at 636-334-3999. We're going to talk about how Mercury in retrograde and how Taurus and Uranus and Capricorn all fall into play, and take your calls and help you, maybe deal with the times that you're going through right now in this crisis. I've been doing podcasts with my husband for the last 3 months, following the rise and the fall of the COVID-19 situation. And right now we're in a peak. And I guess after the protests, and everybody getting together, yes, it's true, there is COVID-19, and we are seeing more and more cases. Not that many deaths, but still an abundant amount of people that are catching it. And it's not helping the economy, which just was starting to come back. And some cities or states are doing better than others. New York's doing great, but they're also super careful. And although Texas and California and Arizona, Florida, not doing very well. So we're going to all have to quarantine if we travel for 2 weeks, and also go if nobody's allowed into the UA. So or UE, the Europe.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, with that said, I just want everybody to wear a mask, and, when you go out, and be, careful that you don't spread the COVID virus. And
one thing I want to kind of bring up is, how 2020 is forcing us all to evolve and to reflect on all of the things that are happening in our lives, and how we're approaching, whether our relationships, our work, or, anything that we were doing, how we want to eventually change and evolve into a better, structure for that. And for instance, with the planets being very powerful forces, and I know a lot of people kind of get confused. They're like, how can these big, powerful planets affect us here on Earth? Well, everything is connected, and we've been studying astrology for a very, very long time, and we have the benefit to look back on history and see how these patterns are repeating. And that's the thing that I love about astrology, is that we can use it to enhance our lives by seeing what happened before,
Right.
and then obviously making better choices moving forward. So, yeah,
and it looks like the numbers in the astrology charts, you wrote an article recently on astrology.com about this, and it said that it was sort of ending in December, like around the 23rd. I guess that's when something moves out. I read it about like 4 days ago, so I can't remember exactly what you said, but the numbers are so amazingly accurate. It starts in February, ends in July, and then picks up again at this time. So explain how that works.
Totally. So, for instance, what I do as an astrologer is I'm looking at the patterns, like I was saying before, and we look at where the planets are moving in the constellations. And then obviously there's a collective effect that we are all undergoing at every point in time. Obviously, when it comes to your personal chart, so for instance, you're a Capricorn,
Yes.
You're very specifically interacting with that energy in a different way than perhaps a Taurus, like I am. But there still is a general basis that humanity is evolving and ultimately undergoing this transformation at the same time. So, for instance, let's start with the big players. So, for instance, you as a Capricorn have been having a lot of very intense burden for quite a long time, because you've had Saturn, Pluto in your zodiac sign for many years. And the way that I always explain this to people all over the world is that when we have a very powerful planet in our zodiac sign, it is giving us responsibility and then also changing our lives for the better. And I do think that all challenges in astrology are here to make us better, to improve us as a human being and as a collective. So for instance, Saturn takes 30 years to go around the sun. And since 2017, you've probably been feeling that you've been taking on more responsibility, and you've been there probably have been feelings of doubt, probably even, bouts of depression, some sort of just feeling hard on yourself and the world on your shoulders very specifically.
I was doing great until January.
Right. Well,
I was fine, but I was getting ready to take all my hard work and go do something with my life this year and have fun and travel and live out my 60th year with a little bit of pizzazz, but, then that's all come to a crashing halt, which I find is probably karma. So, anyways, with that, I want to bring in Calise Simone.
Yeah, absolutely.
She's a psychic medium. I've known her for years. I actually spent my 60th birthday with her in Australia. Hello.
Hi, guys.
Hi.
Not in Australia, in
Thanks
New
for having
York.
me on the show.
She's in Australia.
Wait, birthday was in New York.
Yeah, so we had a really great time over the holidays, and the world, we were on the top of the world, and literally, in New York, and who knew this was coming? I mean, did you have any idea? I feel like I have karma or something. Yeah, it's like you're turning 60, forget the cruise, forget the vacation. You're just going to be in your house, and you're going to live another year without any fun. So just suck it up.
As Carl said,
It is your Saturn return, so I'm not surprised that things are shifting for you. And it kind of happens to all of us every, what is it, 30 years, Carl? Something like that.
Well, roughly the Saturn return takes place from about 27 until 31 is when you're in that orb of influence, I guess you would say. And then it repeats again right about now for you.
Well,
Yeah, so you are going to go through a life shift, but I mean, on a global level, yeah, it came up in a lot of readings I did, a lot of predictions I did that there would be
really?
the big shift this year, that there would be widespread flu. So it wasn't a complete surprise, but I do think the length of it, and the severity of it, I just didn't initially, when those predictions were coming through, I didn't initially feel it would go on for a couple of years, but now that it's starting to happen, I feel that density in the energy. Um, and just to add a quick prediction about COVID, I did speak last week a lot about, a sort of second wave and a resurgence. So I do feel, particularly in New York, everyone just needs to be really, really careful. And I think there is a sense of celebrating a little bit too soon. I hope
They've
I'm
been pretty
wrong,
good so
but
far.
I
Their
do feel there will be
their
a bit of
curve
an
is the
outbreak
lowest.
towards the end of this year
Yeah, it'll probably come back once
in New
everybody gets
York.
out and starts moving around. But it's kind of funny because when Calise and I were together on my birthday, a friend of ours was really ill that week, and she came to dinner, and she had just flown in from Atlanta, and her husband had been and our boyfriend had been in China. He worked in China. So anyways, Calise knew that she was sick and was trying to avoid her at all costs. And we spent like 2 or 3 days together with her. And then we all got really sick.
Oh,
and I swear to
no.
God, I thought it was COVID because Calise had to go on steroids. She has asthma problems. So she was really sick and she was not able to avoid it. And I was convinced that I got it, but it may have been just a sign, Calise, that I never get sick, that this was coming. Like, it's almost kind of weird looking back at it now because I never get sick. And then, and I'm not saying that this is all about me and how I want to like complain about my life, because I am seriously blessed. I mean, I'm really lucky to be where in the position that I am. And I'm happy to stay home for the better of all good. I want to make sure that this country becomes healthy again, and I can wait a year. And it hasn't been that stressful for me, except for, Drew losing a lot of work and stuff like that, and getting a job next week to go to Vegas and speak, but then they're canceling it because there's too much.
Yeah.
There's a rise in Nevada, and which is fine. We just have to get used to the new normal and just say, okay, it's going to be fine. We'll all be fine together. And I feel like, we're all in this together, and you guys have probably a lot of information that you could give people to help them feel better and know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. I can just sit here and tell you how pissed I am that I have to stay home for another year.
Well, I mean, I think that it's really important when we are charting the patterns of the stars to see, what lies ahead. And I've done two really, I think, there's two articles that I've worked on that I'm very proud of. And one is on my website. It is called The Astrology of the Global Coronavirus COVID-19 Pandemic and the Next Great Awakening, because we will be emerging into that, which is going to be taking place in December, as you were talking about before. But then also I did an article for astrology.com recently called Mars in Aries and What It Means for Coronavirus, because there are a lot of moving parts here. The coronavirus isn't just created by one planet. It's kind of a perfect storm that we have been going through. And I do find that, when I'm looking at someone's chart, there may be some challenges or some obstacles, but if they are living their life in a way of being conscious and, really atoning for any karma that may be from the past, but also being very strong in their movement forward, well, the problems may not be as difficult to bear. But sometimes I find in humanity is that we ignore a problem until it becomes too extreme. And that is what has been happening right now, is that there is a course correction that is happening. And these planets are not here to punish anyone. It's to help us grow.
Okay.
That's a fantastic point, because a lot of people, when they hear Mercury retrograde, they go, oh, everything's turning, terrible and I'm not going to survive. But what you don't realize is that during a retrograde, things that aren't working fall away to be replaced by something better. And one of my favorite examples is when I'm going to travel somewhere and I turn up for a flight, the flight gets cancelled, and I'm like, oh, retrograde. And then I get put on a new flight and I might get an upgrade, or a nicer seat or something like that. And it's like, come on, guys, just if you go with the flow and you stay in a good vibration, retrograde can actually work in your favor.
Absolutely. And
well, I hope so. I think everybody I've spoken to recently who's been in quarantine with their families has become a closer knit family. I saw a friend today, and he's living with his two boys like I am, and he said, we fought for like a week, but now we're all getting along, So we find that we have to, start cooking for dad, or being part of a family again. It's very interesting, and I think that's a positive. I think also people are collectively coming together to make change in the world that it should have been done. Black Lives Matter, and also just police brutality, definitely a good reason to protest. Unfortunately, it was during a pandemic. Don't really suggest it, Lindsay, my engineer.
Sorry.
And, just because it does make everybody worried that you're not going to be able to come to work next week. So, but she will. And I'm getting tested. I'm going to get tested next week. I feel like I should go out and do that. Just because we've gone out to dinner, and I want to make sure, but I'm pretty sure I'm not sick, but I also want to get my antibodies test, because I swear to God, that was COVID-19. I felt like it's so bad.
I don't believe it was, but it could have been. We don't. Please get the test anyway, because I'd love to know where you're at.
Did you ever get
with
tested?
Antibodies and stuff, but I can't. I'm in Australia. We don't have tests here.
I also, that's why
so I'm just
there's no
super
curve like
careful.
ours. It's funny because I went to a gay bar too on my birthday that you didn't go to. So.
oh my God, I'm jealous.
I know. Next time.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm
yes.
so there.
I have, yeah. And that place
Can
is
I
like
just add
a
a few
petri dish.
points? Recommendations for people who are in quarantine and what they're going through at the moment. The first thing that I love to point out to people is please understand the benefits of what you're doing. Understand that you have time to mentally take stock of your life, to physically relax, and to get some inner spiritual peace. This is a time where you have an abundance of energy around you to just do self-care. So definitely stay on the positive, do your gratitude list, and focus on the benefits of what you're going through, even though there is a lot of strange stuff going on outside that's not within your control. And the second thing that I want people to try out is to not stop dreaming. Do not stop dreaming. Do not stop that vibration of hope, thinking about what's coming, getting excited about how you're going to relive your life moving forward, change your plans into more of an alignment with who you really feel you need to be.
I love that.
Yeah, I'm already doing that, but it's just not. I have a feeling everything's gonna get set up and then taken away. So I'm preparing for that.
For a while, it will. It will.
At the end of the year, the vaccine comes out. We will all get the vaccine, hopefully, and it'll help a lot, and then we'll be able to run free again. So I'm going to take a call from Maureen.
I feel a slightly longer trajectory, unfortunately, but it will happen.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, what?
Hi, Maureen. This is Susan. How are you?
Oh, hi, Susan. Hi. I heard the beep and I had you on speaker. So sorry. How's everybody?
Oh, we're great. Well, we're just talking about COVID-19, and Calise thinks it's going to go on longer. Obviously, it's going to go on longer because after you get the vaccination, it takes a month or so for everybody, to settle in. And I don't know if they'll be able to vaccinate the entire country all at once. So we'll know more. So,
Yeah.
but
I know. I try to get in on you and Drew every day if I can, if I'm around. So that's been very helpful. Thank you.
What is your question for Calise and Kyle?
Question is, I live in Orange County by my son and his wife and their little girl, and I'm used to living in LA. I went to Phoenix temporarily and came back here because the weather was just too hard for me. In Phoenix, it was too hot. But I feel like I want to move again out of California, and I don't know if it's safe to do that during COVID. It seems so risky or complicated, but I'm not happy where I am and where I'm living. So I'm just not sure if I need to just hunker down or if I can still try to get out.
What is your birthday?
So, Maureen, oh, sorry. Yep. You go first.
Let Kyle jump in first.
Sorry about
Birthday, August 18. I will be 64 next month, August.
that. Okay. All right, Calise, if you want to jump in on that, I want to take a look at her chart really quickly.
Okay, sure. Maureen, I feel that you've got work to do in California, so there's a reason why you're there. The energy I get around your current situation is the type of setup where you feel like you're being pulled backwards, but it's to propel you forwards. So you might think, oh, I've been punished by being sent to California, but I do feel what you'll find is whatever energy realignments you go through while you're there will completely improve your life in the long run. You're not going to stay there forever, but I just feel, and Carl can confirm this with the dates and things, I feel right now might be a bit too soon for you to move, but I do feel you will eventually move. You just need to be a bit patient.
Well, interestingly enough, too, I mean, definitely.
So maybe.
What was that?
Go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I definitely agree
No, go
completely
ahead.
with that, because the thing is that I would be looking for a major planet to kind of interact with this sector of your chart. And granted, I only am seeing just from your eyes of your sun sign, and there are a lot of intricacies that go into reading someone's natal chart and their rising sign and knowing all of these patterns. But I always do find that the sun sign is very indicative of the patterns on a very general scheme are like what's going on for you. So for instance, I would need to see some sort of eclipse or major movement of a planet to really see a major relocation. I do see that there is an opportunity of, every year we have a full moon and a new moon in every single zodiac sign. So we do have your home base is definitely going to be very highlighted in November of this year. And again, pretty much throughout like November and December, but I don't see that there's a significant move at that time. I would see that there's an opportunity to, readjust your current alignment, but to really go very significantly. The eclipses that are going to be taking place in there are actually in 2022. So my hunch for you is actually it's going to be closer to 2022 when this next big cycle is going to be taking place in that area of the sky. So I mean, I think that, especially at this point in time with the pandemic happening, I don't think it is beneficial for anyone to really make some very abrupt moves at this time. I mean, I think what we are being collectively taught is to reflect, to look at our history, look at our past, look at our traumas, look at what we've learned, but then also to appreciate all of the beauty that we have already experienced in order to better move forward in every day that comes.
Okay, that's perfect. So maybe just a new apartment might do me.
Maybe.
Yeah. And I actually say that seems very
Closer
likely.
to the ocean.
Yeah, that seems much more likely, even as early as November.
Yeah, that could be tomorrow as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, I'm just in kind of a community that I'm not vibing with, and I feel like I've been sick since quarantine. So yeah, it's just not my vibe, and I don't necessarily need to be so close to my son, but I just need to be closer to friends, I think.
Yeah, start building your tomorrow, but make
that's
sure.
Great.
I don't know if you watched our prediction show last week. We had Calise and Kyle and Jennifer and Rebecca on, and we talked about, how the COVID virus was probably going to come back with a vengeance in October and November, which makes sense. But, the holidays, like right now, the government, most of the states are shutting the beaches down and trying to keep people from celebrating the holiday because they're seeing an uptick, and they're just really trying to be careful and make people understand the necessity of wearing masks and being in public places and spreading the virus without knowing it. So, and it seems likely that it's going to be hard to, after school starts again and after, if they have any sporting events and then you have also Thanksgiving when everybody meets, and you have October, which is Halloween, and, it could tick up before the holidays. So it's just when people get together, they pass germs. That's the way it is. So it's not going to go away. Unfortunately, we just have to be super careful. I think that not as many people are going to die. A lot of people are dying. Okay, there's people that are compromised, people that are elderly are passing from this disease, and it's a very vicious virus. It takes over pretty quickly in certain cases, but the people who are spreading it may not even know they have it. So I just make your choices for yourself. Try to do it faster if you can, because once the quarantine starts again, you might find my son was saying that, once the checks stop coming and there's some laws about being evicted if you don't pay your rent, and those are going to end. The month that ends, there's going to be a lot of good deals on apartments. So look out for that as well.
Yeah, I've been looking for apartments already, and I'm not afraid of the germs moving. That doesn't bother me. I'm very, very careful though of being around people. I just don't find in Orange County that people are following any rules.
Yeah.
No, they're not.
More diligent.
I've seen it myself. It's pretty astounding, but there is a little uptick down there. They just didn't have very many cases, but now that they have people coming in from other cities, it's a lot of people coming in from other cities. So, especially since they're closing down the LA beaches this week, everybody's going to go to Orange County.
May I interject something? You said your birthday was August 18th, correct?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay. So that's what I thought I heard. And that's actually a new moon, which is really powerful and beautiful for you.
Oh.
So I already know that you're going to move. I know that you're going to have a huge, entirely new life in the year that follows that. Because as an astrologer, I also actually look at the exact alignments of the planets on that day of birth. And so I can make predictions about things that I think are going to happen. And it's the big stuff and the kinds of relationship issues or opportunities in your career. And with a new moon, which is one of the most powerful blessings you can have in a year, falling exactly on your birthday, I think right now, up until then, there's a lot of closure, but I think in the days that open after that and in the months ahead, you're going to feel reinvigorated in every single way.
Nice. I like that positive.
That's awesome. Thank you.
I love it.
You guys are so fun. I love it.
Okay, good. Well, enjoy your evening. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye,
you so
Maureen.
much. I'll continue to listen to the show, and you guys take care. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you. Bye.
I gotta open this screen. Okay. Whoop. Boop. I can't do it. It won't let me do it. Okay, so that was nice. I appreciate you guys taking her call. And do you have anything else you want to interject, Calise?
Yeah, I mean, it was just, Maureen will probably hear this, but to remember that sometimes when we feel like we're going backwards, we're actually going forwards. And I do feel she was there to help support the community around her. And if she really, really focuses on her spirituality, she'll get through this quickly. Okay. Everyone, like the shortest distance between 2 points is joy. So the happier you are, the quicker it'll all come through.
So somebody wanted to know on Restream the fate of Trump. And if you listen to our last podcast, you'll be able to hear that. So
yeah, we talk a ton about
Politics.
The election and politics in the last episode, and that was really wonderful to hear what everybody else was saying.
It's cool. It's not going to be a spoiler alert. We're just going to tell you to listen to the previous podcast. And okay, so let's take another call.
Also, I think one thing to note also with the astrology, just really quickly, is that in the idea that we're walking backwards at this point in time, the thing that I'm seeing astrologically is that even though we're feeling like we're taking 2 steps forward or backward, we are in this push-pull current, and that's because we haven't resolved or learned everything from the past yet. And then once we do that, we can more easily move forward.
Interesting. Boy, it's just crazy times. He's freaking out every day. So this is our first caller today. Hi, Jillian. Hello, Jillian.
Hi.
How are you? Welcome to Calling Out.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hi.
So what is your question?
I just was wondering if you guys saw any like job predictions or just like any like prominent predictions in general.
So you said job predictions or what?
Any job predictions or any like prominent predictions in general?
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, Carl, do you want to start or do you want me to look into that?
Yeah, what is your exact date of birth?
June 1st, 1989.
Okay, so you're just about to finish your Saturn return. There's a huge shift that's going on there. Also, I mean, your entire destiny is really shifting because you're a Gemini, and you are entering a very powerful eclipse cycle that has to do with your personal power and emerging into the next major chapter of your life. There is a very significant focus over the next 2 years on partnerships. And if you work in any professional way where you're either having an important partnership going between you, business partnerships, all of that can go really well. Collaboration is really notable for you as well. When it comes to your career, we also just had Neptune, which is the planet of imagination and spirituality. It's going retrograde in your career sector. So over the next couple months, you're actually going to feel like things might be a little bit slower. This is not going to be a big problem for you, though, because as long as you're really, fine tuning your projects. Also, I'm really picking out the September 1st is going to be a really big day in your career. Around then is going to be really important. There could be a turning point in your career that will be really significant because that is a full moon in your career. Also, I do sense that you're having either some delayed money, delayed checks. There could be some sort of financial frustration at this point in time. This is because of the Mercury retrograde that is happening in your finances right now, causing this tension. But you did have an eclipse about 10-ish days ago that was opening new opportunities for you, but because of this retrograde, it's still a little mumbled. I actually see that there's going to be more income coming to you, more stability in the days that follow July 20th.
Kyle is an encyclopedia of astrology.
Yeah, so around July 20th.
Oh my God.
I would actually try to keep applying no matter what. I mean, I wouldn't stress yourself out. The thing that I keep really picking up here, though, is that if you go back to like past jobs, past clients, past people that you worked with a retrograde, it actually opens a door to that past window. And with you being a Gemini, you're ruled by Mercury. So Mercury retrogrades really affect you very intensely. And so I think it's really important for you to slow down. Don't be too hard on yourself. I actually am picking up that you're having a lot of doubts about your self-worth because of this. Just because there is
Calise says yes.
Yeah, just because there is a frustration on this does not mean you are not valued. Just make sure that you are giving yourself some time with this work because it is going to come through. You'll be fine, but it's going to take a little bit more time. It'll speed up after July 12th, just so you know.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. I hope that's a lot of information.
Yeah. Calise, do you have anything on that?
You'll probably have to listen to
it. Can I give us some quick messages as well?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Jillian, it's so cool that the psychic and the astrology overlap so much when we do this work because everything Carl was saying was the same kind of stuff that I was getting. So I'll just try and focus on like the additional bits. But I definitely felt there's either a situation, and this could be something you're in now or something you've just left, but I see a job that hangs over you that makes you feel so suffocated and so overwhelmed, and it's almost like you feel trapped there. You will need to leave that job if you haven't already. Yeah. That's something where you will be the one to walk away. Good news is you're not going to get fired. Your heart is healing emotionally.
Oh, thank God.
So there's a dynamic you understand this, right? There's a dynamic in your current employment where your relationship with your coworkers is mirroring the relationship, something that's come up with your dad in the past. So you need to work on boundaries and self-worth. That's why you're in that job. It's not punishment, it's karmic. It's to help you move forward and to help you grow as a soul. Your next job will be so enlightening and so rewarding. There's a spiritual aspect to it that makes your heart just explode with love, which is really, really cool. But understand this is going to be a two-phase shift. So you're going to leave the job you're in now. You're going to go towards something like Carl said, where it's a partnership or it's entrepreneurship. And in that one, I see you being a little bit overwhelmed at first. The first 6 months, you're a bit overwhelmed. You might feel like you're drowning a little bit. But in the second half of next year, you'll either change roles within that firm or change roles within that industry, and then you'll be smooth sailing from there.
Woo, that was a lot. Okay.
Okay, good. That makes me so good.
You got it all. You got your whole life in a nutshell right there. Thank you so much for calling.
Well, thank you guys. Have a good day.
Okay, bye. Talk to you later. Bye. Okay, so I'm going to move over to somebody who's been romancing someone online for 9 months and has a question. Come on. Okay. Marcy?
Hello?
Hi.
Yes.
How are you?
Hi.
Okay, what's your question?
I'm okay. Well, this guy, I've been talking to him for about 9 months. He says he was in Tennessee for work and that he was going to be coming back to Washington. And, like that was 9 months ago. He told me 3 weeks. And is he ever going to come back? That's really my question.
I actually feel like he's on an assignment there. I don't feel he's lied to you, but I feel like his motivations have changed. I feel like he genuinely was in Tennessee, and I feel like he genuinely was going to come back, and then his whole situation has changed. And I don't feel like it's that he has lost a connection to you. I just feel something more important has taken over. There's another responsibility that's come in that's requiring his focus and his energy right now. Does that make sense?
So is he the one? Is he the one? That's what I want to know.
I feel like you can keep working on it. I don't
so
feel like you should
romantic
walk
with me.
around. Yeah, I mean, it's almost like a timing
Go,
issue,
girl.
and maybe Carl wants to add more to
Keep
this,
their
but I don't
romance
feel like
going.
you should ditch it. I just feel like you should be patient.
I mean, these are troubled times. We're all in quarantine, and it's very difficult for everybody. And we all
I am
have
52 years old, and I'm being patient. I'm 52. I raised all my kids. My kids are raised.
I know.
I'm just.
I know.
I know.
Like,
I feel
especially
it.
when it comes to love, we just want it all. Like,
And
to just
they
be
went off to college, and
perfect.
then they had to all come home and do college from home or something. It's
What is your birthday, by the
I
way?
guess-
Well, the oldest has 3 kids of her own.
oh, wow.
Mm.
Well,
The
you deserve
youngest
love. You deserve
is-
love. Definitely.
Just moving in with her boyfriend, and the middle child is just graduating university and starting her life.
Oh, that's great. Oh, good. So they're adults
It's not
now. So
personal though. He has something else going on, so please don't take it as an like a sort of personal dig that he's not running after you
Yeah.
at the moment. I just feel something really important's come
and
up
he's
that
a
he's
dude.
handling.
Men think differently. They're pretty. I mean, my husband will tell you this too. You have to kind of take the ball and throw it to him. Go catch it. This is your time to catch it. Let's see what we can do here and work with him. Because all they want to do is take the ball and go. So just try to work. If it feels good to you, and you're having a long distance relationship and things are going well, just work with it, and maybe in time things will work out. But don't give up.
Well, what's your sign? What's your birthday?
I'm a Virgo, September 17th.
Okay, so it's funny because I was actually just going to bring up a big
You
note
should have
about
said
this. So, for instance, you've been actually having a lot of difficulty in all sorts of romantic endeavors pretty much since the end of 2017. Literally, as of today, Saturn re-entered this place. So it's going to be still tough until December. So the thing about this is that there is going to be, in what I see with this is that there tends to be distance that separates people, or that it's almost like you feel like your heart is cold. It's like you can't really find something that sticks. It's so much hard work. The thing about Saturn, though, is that it is the great giver of life lessons. And so the more that you work on something, just exactly what they were saying, it's going to give you more of a reward. Interestingly enough for you, I actually know that the planet of Jupiter, which is luck, expansion, and miracles, is going to move into your sector of commitments next summer. I know that feels like it's far away, but it's going to be here before you realize it. Also, I know I can see you in 2022. You are going to be in a partnership. It's going to be good, and you're going to feel much more free and happy and liberated because of it. The last big thing here is that we are having an eclipse literally this weekend that is falling in your romantic sector.
Is that bad or good?
It's
I'm
good.
so
I actually,
pessimistic.
it's an eclipse in your sign, so you're gonna be fine. But when it comes to Virgo here, it is going to be a situation where you may have to make a very important choice in love. And this sometimes being in a lunar
Choose a
eclipse,
Virgo.
it could be an ending. The thing that I also find that when it comes to eclipses
Hope
is
not.
that if you are actually clearing space for someone better, you're actually going to find someone better elsewhere. If you want to hold on to this, you can, and there's no wrong decision that you can make because it's ultimately your happiness. But I would start
Put
looking
your
elsewhere.
feelers out.
I would start looking elsewhere.
Enjoy this while you can, and put your feelers.
Because you're
agree
not
with
together right
Kyle.
now.
Okay, let's
You
do
know?
it.
So yeah.
Don't take my advice. I'm just telling you that, men. They
It's
can
a
be
choice
tough.
though. as Carl said, if you do leave, you will find something better that is a lot more energy coming towards
Yeah.
you, which I feel you really need right now. But you can stay with this. I don't feel this
Why
is
can't
going
she
to
have
end.
a couple of guys? Why does she have to have just one?
She can.
I mean, get out there.
Yeah,
girl.
I just need 5 good guys with each have the different quality I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's a lot of work. You got to kiss a lot of
And then-
toads, that's for sure.
And then I get 2 days off a week.
Oh, yeah, that's hard too. What do you do?
No, I'm saying if I get 5 guys and then I have 2 days off.
No, I know.
That's a lot of work.
No, I'm disabled. I don't work.
That's a full-time job.
Come on, Marcy, you can do it.
But astrologically, I don't sense that there's going to be a loneliness for too much longer, and your romantic life is certainly going to improve in 2021.
I'm having earphone problems. All right. Well, thank you so much. My ears falling out. We really appreciate your
Thanks
call.
for the insight, guys.
Thanks, Farsi.
Okay, bye.
Yes.
Did she say goodbye?
Yeah, she left.
Okay, sorry. My earbud fell out.
Yeah, and the thing that I always find with astrology is that people I do know, like, for instance, myself, I was wondering, I was like, when am I going to meet a wonderful person? It took me 2 years until the stars literally aligned and opened up.
You know, Drew's having a lot of trouble. He's a
And it
Virgo
is.
right now.
When
it's
it
just
works,
like a
it
freaking
works.
nightmare.
Like, it just
He hates it.
clicks.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm totally different than him, but I hope she finds love. Seriously. Whew. So I want to read some of the things on Restream here. Let's see. I've just learned from Kathy. I've gone into heart failure. And yes, due to my family history, there's a lot more that got me to that point. Against my doctor's orders, I decided to return home. There are things I want to clear up before they ship me out to a larger medical facility. I know in my heart this is going to be a long process. I'm so sorry if I've come off a little snappy, but it really scares the death out of me. I'm so scared of that vaccine. See, I guess she's sort of an anti-vaxxer.
Okay.
Home or in the hospital, God has a plan. My intuition is just pushing me away. Why, I have no idea. I pray to God my family doesn't see this. I have not sat down with them yet. In other words, please forgive me if my comment may have appeared a bit harsh. That was not my intention. We really appreciate you explaining that, Kathy. Everybody has their opinion about how they want to live their lives. Like, you know, some people would prefer to just, you know, be part of herd immunity and not have to take the vaccine. I don't personally think that way, but you have every right because of your condition. So I'll let Simone tell you what she
Calise.
thinks. I mean, Calise.
Sorry, it's close enough.
Sorry. Some story.
Kathy, I think it's really intense. I really feel Kathy would get a huge benefit from working on her anxiety. Anything that helps ease her anxiety, any kind of meditation routine, whether if she really loves looking at pictures of puppies, like just sit there and look at pictures of puppies for a couple of hours, just anything to bring that anxiety level down, because I feel like she's fixating a lot on her circumstances and she's obviously got a lot of time to think about them. But my whole thing is when the vaccine comes out, the doctors will advise who can have it and who can't. So as long as you just follow what the advice of the doctors is, you have the greatest chance of healing and finding a dynamic that works for you, because they might say that immunocompromised people need to have it immediately, or they might say immunocompromised people shouldn't have it at all. So wait to hear what the doctors say, but in the meantime, work on your own anxiety levels so that you can get the greatest enjoyment out of the time you have now, where you're just sort of waiting and healing.
I hope so. I hope
Lowering
that
your cortisol levels will help you get into a state of self-healing as well.
Okay. I hope she heard that. Don't worry about your comments on Facebook. I mean, everybody, you know, people get rough on each other on there. You just have to take it with a grain of salt and move on. So, you know, I just blocked somebody on YouTube, so don't feel bad.
Bye.
I don't know if you saw me. I was like, oh.
Be gone.
Yeah, fuck
Oh my
off.
God, I love it.
Okay?
I love
Just
you.
fuck off, brother. Jesus. Listen. I'm not running for office, and I'm not a medical doctor. I can do what I want. Okay, here we go. I can talk to dead people. I can talk about horoscopes. I can, make less friends maybe. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's my show, okay? Fine. All right, so I want to see about taking another call here. I like that last one. Okay, this person wants to know about her mediumship abilities. Terry?
Hello?
Hi, how are you? Oh,
Yes, ma'am.
I'm sorry, I beg your pardon. Terry is a man. Thank you for calling.
Oh, it's no problem. It's common. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, it was about 2 years ago. Went to a funeral, and it was uneasy feeling just the whole time. Couldn't look in the room where everybody was gathering for a while. And then once we got in there, two spirits appeared. Well, more like came over, said hello in very interesting ways. One of them was female and kept trying to take the rings off my fingers. And the rings I was wearing were heirloom rings from my grandfather, who was up the lodge and such and such. And
cool.
And there was another gentleman, he was a pastor there, and then there's the third gentleman in the room who was the individual we were there for.
Wow.
And I didn't know it at the time. It was oblivious to me. I loved the TV shows related to ghosts, spirits, all of that. And I always noticed while watching the shows, there's something moving in the background. I was like, oh, I either have an overactive imagination or... And well,
I had one too many whiskeys.
After the lady tried pulling the rings off After the lady tried pulling the rings off my fingers, she took her head and pulled it apart and told me somebody put an axe in my head.
And
I asked her to go away, and she
said
away.
What?
She said somebody put an axe in my head and spread her head apart, and ran off to the other end of the room. After I told her to leave. And my father-in-law, who is a empathic medium, was head to the ground doing his spiritual chants. He's very well in tune with his abilities and such. And the pastor was preaching at him as if he was a demon. And it was real funny. And then the pastor looked over at me and he said, I'll be over to you in a minute. And I told him to fuck off, and he fucked up. And
these are all people that have passed, right? You're talking about?
Yes, ma'am. They're spirits.
Yeah, spirits. Okay.
And once all that wrapped up, I couldn't approach the coffin because the spirit of the individual who was there, he didn't know me, so I just joined the family. They took me in.
Oh.
And he said, "Who are you?" I pointed out the family I was there with, and he was like, "Okay, you're cool." And I came over, gave him a hug. He was like, "Hey, you're cool." About 2 minutes before that, the pastor was standing there in the other corner of the room. I walked past him, and he said, "Son of Abraham." I was like, "What?" And just went on with my day. And after I left the premise of I kind of beelined it straight to the vehicle because I felt like I was about to pass out. The second we left the church gates, I fell unconscious for about 15 minutes in the car, and I just snapped back to it, just starving. My brain was deprived. I just felt like I wanted sugar.
Okay. So, Calise, have you ever been to a funeral and seen a lot of spirits cruising around in the,
I have been to funerals. I have seen spirits cruising around, but not at funerals. So the first thing I want to say to Terry is you need to work on boundaries and closing down. The only time you should be connecting to spirits is when you set the intention to open your aura to connect to spirits. If you find spirits are just coming at you here and there all the time, that's not healthy for you, and it's not healthy for them, as you well know, because as you said, you were like passed out, sleeping in the car or whatever, 15 minutes, because it's draining your energy. So you need to do exercises where you work on closing down your energy, and that's an amazing gift to have, that you can see them and sense them so strongly, simply because when you do open up and you set the intention to connect, you will set a loving light vibration, and none of that energy will exist. That energy with like the axes and the teasing and you're good with boundaries and sending spirits away, so that's fantastic, but I don't want you to be open all the time. It's not healthy for you, and it's not healthy for your aura.
I told everything that happened to my father-in-law. He's like, yeah, you may be a physical medium. And he started telling me kind of how to. And after that point, I realized I have a few objects that are spiritually attached as well. And they started coming out like, hey, how's it going? And very kind of Beetlejuicy. He has a barrier around our property, so the only way something can get in is if it's brought in, and that was by my mistake because I brought 2 items in.
Jeez.
One is just an attachment as far as a guardian attachment, and the other one, her name's Maria. She's awesome. After I discovered my medium abilities, she came to me in a dream and was like, hey, I need you to get this ring back to my daughter.
Yeah, we get it.
I told her, I was like, hey, I've been
Terry,
trying to get about
Terry, what city do you live in?
He's in
What was that
California.
again?
He's in Visalia.
Are you in California?
I'm in California. I'm outside the Sequoia National Park.
I recommend Googling your local spiritualist church, your local SNU, and going to regular meetings there and regular services there, because you will have an amazing community of other mediums, mental mediums, physical mediums, spiritual mediums. And I really feel like that will bring you, because you've got so many unique situations going on. I feel like if you join a community like your local spiritualist church, you will have, you'll find that helps.
How old are you, Terry?
24.
Yeah, so you're young. Okay. The thing I found with mediums
We need to bring more structure to your mediumship.
Yeah, over the years, I met Tyler Henry. He's like 19 or 20 when I met him, and I
am a big follower of Duncan Trussell as well. I've learned through him my mindfulness and meditation pathways.
He's not a psychic medium. He'd like to be. He might be psychic in production, but he's not a psychic medium.
He's definitely speaking knowledge, and that's where I'm like, oh.
But let me help you
super
understand something that I've experienced, because I've interviewed 20 mediums over the years, good ones, and the ones that are younger, that are like in the early 20s, tend to not be able to shut it off. Okay, so what Calise is telling you is there's a way that you can only open up your spiritual mind when it's your time, and like Tyler Henry said, he can't go to a hospital because there's so many spirits running around and he can't shut them off. They come at him left and right, and it scares him. He told me that. But I think as you get older, like sometimes like Calise, for example, if we go to dinner or we're at a party, she's not giving psychic readings like your grandma's here or here. You know what I mean? She's like a normal human being. She goes out and she just lives her life. But she also she has to meditate and get into she can do it all the time, but it would just be overwhelming because you'd be talking to dead people all day long because they're everywhere. Okay, I know this sounds crazy, but this is what I've been told. As you get older, you'll have more control over it, and you'll be able to understand why they're there and what they're trying to bring a message for you to give somebody, or they're just trying to connect with you because they know they can. So go to the spiritual center. What did you say the name of it was? An
SNU, the Spiritualist Nationalist Union, I think it's something like that. I don't know, but it's your local spiritualist church. And honestly, like, I feel a lot of what you're picking up on is residual psychic energy, not actual genuine mediumship energy. But I do feel you have mediumship abilities, and I want you to learn the difference between the two, get proper training, proper structure, a proper understanding of how to open and close your abilities so that you start having a more normal existence.
Yeah.
Because if you keep going on like this, you'll just feel overwhelmed all the time, and that's not healthy for you.
I'm sorry?
My father-in-law, I've been actively doing that since I discovered it. My father-in-law, he is as well an empathic medium, and he's taught me since that day. It's like, hey, you need a talisman. Hey, you got to put a barrier up your head. Hey, you got to do this, and you can do okay. And if anything bothers you, you can tell it to go away. So
you've got to rein it in, because you don't want to sound like a lunatic.
Try the church.
In public. Go
do both.
Get somebody to help you. You have to, just telling us is fine because you're in a safe space here. But you have to understand that it looks a little wacky, and you have to learn how to rope it in and make sure that it's you're discussing it or you're communicating in a safe space, and that you don't freak anybody out, because I personally, you just have to control it in a responsible way, whatever you have, this gift that you've been given.
And the more people you learn from, the better you'll get. Like in martial arts, I always say, go to as many senseis as you can to learn as many techniques as you can. The more mentors, the more mediums, the more different people you speak to about spirituality, the better your abilities will become and the more refined your skills will become. So you'll become a stronger, more accurate medium if you study with lots of different groups.
And
so you've
figure
had
out
an
what the
awesome
message
grounding
is.
with your father-in-law or your stepdad, whoever you said, but just keep going with as many different mentors as you can to start refining your skills.
Yeah, that's what Calise did. She went to
You do have a gift.
You were part of the Lisa Williams group. That was, I mean, what
I've always been
with
spiritual
fascinated
center.
with religious studies, philosophy, and it's always been an interest in me since I was young. Just understanding the world, its history, down to the ancients' core of everything, and
well, I think,
it's
like, for example,
beautiful.
Cindy Kaza went to this certain school of
She went
psychics.
to Arthur Finlay.
Yeah, what was it called?
Arthur Finlay. It's in the UK.
Yeah, and I mean, that was
It's
her
another
way
fantastic place.
of getting experience through people who had the gift. And then Lisa Williams was a huge mentor of many psychics, and I've met many of the people that she's worked with over the years, and they're all really super good clairvoyant mediums. But I mean, there are people out there that you can follow and you can learn. So, I would just say invest your time in finding out more about that.
Thanks,
Yes,
Terry.
Thank you for calling.
Well, thank you.
It's incredible. Good luck.
It is. It's a.
Oops, I hung up on him. Sorry. I didn't do that on purpose. Anyways, I can't imagine. Oh my God. I mean, it sounded like a circus in there. I get really intuitive when I go to funerals too, because I feel like I'm a little intuitive, but not that intuitive. Like,
Well,
oh my God.
It's funny because my stylist was actually asking about your psychic ability. You totally have psychic ability.
Yeah, but I don't.
And you have a lot of energy that you
I
put out.
believe in it, but I don't want to be, I don't see ghosts and,
I'm definitely not a medium.
No,
not at all.
but you're
so
intuitive.
Super intuitive, but the way that I've actually studied and made it in a way that I think, anybody that wants to know more about spirituality or something, if you find a path that can help you understand it and focus it. Like for me, it's astrology.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And it really it
you,
enhances my intuitive gift already.
Right. And he could go in that direction
Totally.
too and be quite but your brain is, you've got so much information. It's just really confusing for me. Like I mean,
very impressive.
Thank you.
So Calise, can you take another call?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, good. I'm gonna look here and see.
Oh, I better just plug in. Sorry.
Does anybody jump out at you guys? Do you feel any names coming out your way that you want to read?
Well, and I think, anybody that's interested in learning about astrology, one of the easiest ways to do so, certainly at this point in time, is to, yes, you can grab a book, but there's so much information out there, especially when it comes to like YouTube and learning about your sign and looking at your natal chart. And obviously, I think it's best to, find a mentor, find an astrologer who is practicing so you can have a little bit of guidance. But there's so many resources out there. And I think that astrology is very helpful to and validating when you look at yourself and you're like, oh, I didn't realize this. And it helps you evolve as a person. But the way that you look at your signs when you're 20 is going to be an evolution to when you look at them when you're 60.
Sure. It makes more sense to me now. Mm-hmm. I mean, I was really into astrology when I was 18, but I've gotten more into the psychic medium stuff and numerology over the years. I mean, I look at my horoscope, but now it's like it's just astounding I'm trying to put it all together into one package. Here's Tracy from Michigan. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
I have my Bluetooth on, so I don't know.
Okay, good. What's your question?
If it's a little bit muffled, I can move it.
So,
I am. I'm curious about just what to look forward in the future, and then also I am highly, highly worried about my brother. He got divorced with a lady 2 years ago.
Okay,
and
don't give too much information.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Too much?
Yeah, that's it. We'll let Calise tap in.
Maybe, Carl, do you want to start
Okay.
looking up her birthday to look into her
what
future,
is
and
your,
I'll look into the
what is your
brother?
birthday, my dear?
When's your birthday?
327.
So March 2nd?
327.
March
327?
27th.
Okay.
Wait, what is it?
Yeah.
March 27th.
March 27th. Oh, so she's an Aries. Okay.
Okay. So you said you're worried about your brother because of the divorce?
Yeah. And the fact that she keeps on, he can't move.
Okay, that's enough.
She's made it to where he cannot move on. As
No,
far
that's
as
okay. What's your brother's?
financially, they've got kids
No,
together.
hold on. What's your brother's first name?
Louis.
Louis. Okay, I'll get a message for you about Louis. I feel that Louis needs space from everyone, not just her, and that he's got a lot of introspective work to be doing, where he has to sort of like sit down and breathe. I don't feel he was actually ready to be in such an intense relationship, and he sort of bit off more than he could chew. The best thing you can do is be there and pick up the phone when he calls you, but I wouldn't go and visit his house or like try and cook for him or all the stuff you're dying to do, because I feel like he needs a lot of space right now. I don't feel like there's any danger coming from the ex-wife. I feel like she is going to make amends and move on and find her own pattern in a few months, like moving forward. I do feel he's safe, but I feel like your role in this is to be a pillar of support, but not to come in and try and care for him, because he does feel very overwhelmed.
Okay.
When is his birthday? When is his
He
birthday?
is December 27th.
December 27th?
Mm-hmm.
He's at Capricorn. Yeah, he
Yeah.
needs space. For
I
sure.
only know that because I'm a Capricorn.
Yeah, I mean, he's in this place right now where he is recreating his life, and it's all about him. He needs to do that on his own. And the thing is, it's not saying that you have to at this point in time.
No, I'm not talking about
but
me.
for him, I mean, he's having so many powerful eclipses that are going on. He's having all of these important planetary energies, and he's really setting the stage for himself as an independent person for 12 years to come. And that's really he has to make those own choices. So that's really important for there. When it comes into what I'm tapping in for you, though, is that there is a very significant amount of energy that is entering your sign. So you said that you're an Aries. Mars is your ruler, and Mars went into your sign just a couple days ago and is going to stay with you until January, which is why you feel fired up and feel very energized, and you want to go to war for anything that you believe in, that you love, that you want to exert your dominance, exert your energy. And that's not a bad thing. You know, the thing about Mars is it makes us courageous and makes us strong. But the thing about this is that you need to make sure that you're using that energy in a way that's healthy and conducive to what you can control, which is in your own life and your own path. And the thing about this is I do see that all of this amped up energy is giving you opportunities to really launch important initiatives, especially in the next couple of months and at the end of the year. But from September 9th until roughly about November 13th, Mars is going to go retrograde in your sign. So it's actually going to force you to be pulled back, and you're going to be feeling weaker at that point in time. So what I would recommend for you is to definitely try to, revise your plans and choose how you can, again, focus on self-love, focus on healing you. Because sometimes with Mars energies, it just helps us charge forward and we're not actually facing the problem. And that's what a Mars retrograde can do, is we have to shut down. We have to step back. Because if we're always charging forward, we're not actually doing any growth. We're just burning ourselves out.
I couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. And I really feel that part of the attraction to your brother's situation is because it's a really nice distraction from focusing on other projects that are personal to you that will help you propel forward. And I'm so excited about the opportunity energy that's around you now, because I see big shifts in your career, big shifts in your personal day-to-day life. Yes. And that's what's coming for you. And if you just let go of everyone else's drama, sorry, I'm just going to be really blunt. Stop focusing on other people. Start focusing on yourself. Stop procrastinating. Do self-care. You're such a loving, giving person, and you want to fix everyone. But if you fix you, you will be so much happier and have so much more to give.
Sounds good to me.
1,000% yes. That's everything else
I
that I
say
want to.
that
Yeah.
every day. I want to do me.
Yeah,
There's
I
good
think
stuff
I needed
coming.
to hear that for sure. But you know, like when you see somebody hurting so bad,
I know.
you just the mom bear comes out or the big sister comes out, and they just they're just like stop it already. You just want to fight for him
Maybe wait
because
for him
he
to come
almost
to you.
committed suicide over this.
Yeah.
So it was
You don't
to
want
me,
that.
it was like
Well, if he's in,
I don't think it's not going to get that bad.
if he
Yeah, I
gets
don't
that
sense it either.
He's strong.
depressed, definitely keep an eye on him. But do get him help if he seems really, really depressed. Definitely.
His
Don't-
darkest time, I think, really was actually last
right.
year.
And
not
then
right
that's
now.
the thing. Like, when he is at that point where he had a big breakdown, and do I just let him have his? Do we all just let him have his space? As much as we love him, what do you do? Like do you go just
right.
he's working. He works all the time, so he's always busy working. But it's
Well,
like
that's good.
we want to prevent that. We've had that happen in our family, so.
Right. Keep an eye on him. Make sure he doesn't get too depressed, and just be present, but not too pushy. If it sounds like he wants. I mean, it's good. Just being present is always good in these situations.
I actually see that there's conflicts that are coming from his family for the next 6 months, so don't exacerbate it. So.
Yeah, there's I don't want to. She's kind of a narcissist, and she will make things, push buttons on people to just cause conflict in our family, and then that's when people we're like back up, like no, just oh lordy.
Well, hang in there and just remember, if you do
You
think
got
it's
this. Just
suicidal,
do
call
you.
the suicide hotline. It's you can Google it and call and get advice there if you feel that he's in danger. Just make sure you just if you feel that instinct, definitely talk to somebody. A psychic and an astrologist is not a suicide hotline, person. But if you do feel like he doesn't stops answering, stops going to work, or if you see any changes in his personality, definitely, or if he has an addiction problem, make sure he's not mixing benzos and opioids, because that is the leading cause of death and overdose. So, and it could happen. So just don't stop, but just reach out for help if you think that he needs it.
Yeah.
Okay, he'll probably be fine. It sounds like he's going to be fine, but just, don't beat yourself up either. Oh boy.
Well, thank you for listening. I'm just so worked up and irritated about all this. Like people cannot just move on, and why they got to play games, throw the kids in the back, and not live a life of, I'm not going to punish you for divorcing me. I'm not going to keep on punishing you for not being in my life. That is wrong.
But honey, remember what Kyle said about trying to fight a war that's not yours? Just
Right.
I know you care and I know you love, but do you right now? Because the more you focus on everyone else's stuff, the more you're distracting yourself from feeling better just in general about all the cool stuff you have in your life.
I guess I'll never understand that. That's half my battle. Is like, how can somebody do that to somebody? That's just half my my irritation is, how can somebody treat someone like that?
Also, seek out, get yourself some therapy as well. If you think that you're going to have a problem with that, because
I know, I was thinking that the other day. I'm like, I have got to
go in the back of your
talk to somebody. I think of this.
Of your insurance card and get an in-network therapist, and it's covered by insurance, and that'll help you.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Good luck.
Yeah.
We wish you luck. We hope it works out.
Okay, thank you guys. You have a good night.
Okay, bye. Is that considered codependence? I'm not a psychologist, so I can't tell you.
I'm not a psychologist. I think that's more just like a distraction thing. Like you want to help others, and then because if you help others, it takes your mind off your own problems.
Okay,
it can come from a really good place.
We got a caller named Cindy. She started a new business and wants to know if she should continue.
Hello?
Hi, Cindy.
Hi. How are you guys? So my question was, sorry, I didn't realize it was my turn. I just started a business on Etsy, and it kind of just happened because of the whole pandemic and my brother contracting the virus and being on the ventilator and me being stressed and making big decisions for him to hopefully pull through. And he did, and he's doing better. He's not going to be 100%, but at least he's alive and he's doing better.
Oh, good.
So I ended up starting to do scented soy candles just as a stress reliever at night. And I ended up kind of creating an Etsy page, and now I'm selling. But now I guess I have to go back to work eventually. And I'm just wondering, is this something that I should continue, or should I just focus on my own family and maybe try for another child instead? Like, I don't know.
Try for another child?
What's your birthday, my dear?
Right, because I'm May 26th.
She's very entrepreneurial.
May 26th?
She's got it all in her hands here. She's taking over.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. So you're a Gemini, and that's why you're feeling all of this very significant call to kind of like really move forward and kind of embrace this new destiny. You're going into eclipses in your sun sign, and you have not experienced this for relatively probably about 8 years or so. And so there's this resurgence and this excitement. Interestingly enough, we do have the retrogrades that have been going on for you in your zodiac sign with Venus retrograde, stirring up all sorts of, either past passions or, past creative ideas, perhaps even as well. It is moving forward, but Mercury retrograde is also happening right now too. So in order to truly understand, the prospects of this business, I would need to know when it was created, all of that kind of information there. But I do sense, even just from, the knowing of where your chart is here, that you have a lot of opportunity to truly, move forward in this creative endeavor, to embrace a more authentic vision for your life. This is also really good for you. And I feel like creativity at any expense is also giving birth to beauty in your life. You really want to embrace these new opportunities.
Oh, yeah.
And you should definitely do so. I think that, if for some reason, is it going to make you a full-time business? I'm just going to be really honest with you. It seems unlikely at this point in time, at least from your stars. I don't have your full chart, but it seems highly unlikely because of the way that this is moving at this point in time. You do have an eclipse that's going to be taking place on your birthday next year. So the year after that is bigger than now. And I think at this point in time, as you're really seeing that these seeds are developing, but to leave your complete job, I don't think that's a good idea.
Okay.
Cindy?
No, I'm definitely not leaving my day job.
Cindy, it's a 100% a yes from me. Definitely keep doing it. I feel you found your calling. I feel you are needed in this space, and I feel you should keep it going. I also agree with Kyle. It's going to be a side hustle. It's not going to be a full-time business, but this is going to be a stepping stone into something more rewarding for you. And I feel eventually you will change careers, but it's going to be like a longer term process. It's not going to be an instant thing, but for right now, this needs to keep going. And I don't feel you should walk away from it at all. I feel like this brings you joy. This brings light into your life and into the life of others. So yeah, 100% a yes from me.
I think you actually are going to be like shifting careers more towards like 2025. It's not right now.
How was it dealing with your brother with COVID? Like how long was he?
Oh my God.
Was it serious?
He was put on the ventilator on April 22nd. And no, I'm sorry, March 22nd, and he was on it till mid-May.
Oh, wow.
And now he's in rehab, learning to walk again.
Oh.
Yes,
but
I've
he's
heard a lot
moving
of
in the
people
right
comfort
direction. And
How old is he?
I'm sorry?
How old is he?
He is 52.
Did he have metabolic disorder, or did he have?
No, he was in really good shape. He always worked out. He ate
Wow.
healthy, and
I've heard of that too.
he just went to work one day and unfortunately
Just declined. Wow. Oh, wow.
I'm hearing a lot of stories like
Yeah.
this, people in their 30s and 40s who are super fit, normal, completely fine, and now they're learning to walk again.
Gee.
The same thing, and I'm so sorry that he
Yeah.
had to go through that.
Well, we'll pray for your brother and you, and keep doing what you do to stay strong and keep everybody afloat in your family. I'm sure it was really terrifying for them. I've got to imagine.
Thank you
I can
so
only
much.
imagine. And
One quick question: do you guys see another child
I'm
for
sorry.
me?
Oh, what do you think about another
Oh,
child?
yeah. Do you see me having another child? I have one boy now.
Oh, definitely two.
Two more?
Sorry, I see, because when I see you as Cindy, I'm like, Cindy, she's a mother of two.
Okay.
Mhm.
Don't say two more. God, you might freak her out. How is
Oh,
it
you could have
living in?
twins, I don't know.
You're in New York, but are you in the city? Are you outside of the city, or are you in the city?
I'm in Virginia,
Oh, you're in Virginia.
but
Okay.
I'm a New Yorker. Yeah, I'm from the Bronx.
Okay.
But I
Okay.
moved out here to Virginia.
Oh, wow. I know Virginia got hit pretty
Right.
hard.
Oh yeah, we're I guess nowhere near as New York yet,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, it's pretty hard around here.
Yeah.
There's some people that are not taking it seriously,
Right.
which frustrates the crap out of me, and then there's other ones that do, and I appreciate them. So
Mhm.
either way, I have to do what I have to do for my family and protect my dad and my son, and I'm going to continue to wear a mask and follow their
Definitely
guidelines
get the
regardless of
message
what others are
out.
doing.
Get the message out. Do try to, now that you've experienced it firsthand, because it does bring it home for
Right.
the younger generation.
I think people that, I think it's just the fact that some people do not know anyone who's had it, or it hasn't impacted them
I haven't met anybody.
personally.
I ask all my friends.
I 100% agree.
Mhm.
It's so hard to, really
Yeah.
know. You hear stories, but it's not, until it hits home. But
I
thank
mean,
you.
it's
And
the hardest
Can I
thing
just make
ever
one note?
to make decisions every day.
May I just make one note? So
to help.
from your actual astrology, though, when fertility is very in favor for you, there's a new moon triggering this on October 16th, literally. And for instance, I was doing some
what day?
October 16th. It opens up this
You need
fertility
to get some
for
dick
you.
on October 16th.
Get some dick on October 16th. Yes.
October
So that would be great. Around then, sometimes it triggers a pregnancy.
Or around there.
Yeah.
Just
Venus
in
is
case
going
he's
to
off
be
a day or two.
right. Venus is going to be also in this sector, kind of shaking it up for you from October 27th until November 21st. So the thing about this is fertility is the same place as creativity. So that's why you could be really expressing a lot of giving birth to these projects, which is in itself beautiful, or it could be a very tangible, child that would be really in favor for you. But you're not really going to be having eclipses there, which are destined events until pretty much it's like 2023. So that would be more likely to be like, bam, this is supposed to happen if it hasn't already been triggered by just one of these new moons.
Okay. All right. Sounds great. Thank you so much, guys.
Good
I
luck.
appreciate it.
See you on
Thanks,
October
Cindy.
I'll make sure to get. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, bye.
I feel like I need to just say that to my boyfriend every day. I just need dick today. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, they
Drew
say
says that to
communication
me
is
every day.
important,
Trust
so-
me.
Yes. I love it.
Doesn't happen every day. I'd like it to. Thank God I can't get pregnant. Jeez.
Boy.
Susan, mother of 9.
I'm so fertile. Triplets was enough for me. I was just like,
Ooh.
oh God, what were they thinking? I'm white trash junkyard dog. You look at a man and you get pregnant. That's how it goes. Well, anyways, she's gonna be doing it on October 16th. Well,
Yeah,
I'll send
she
her
is.
a
She's
Hallmark,
like, this
Hallmark
Right,
card
we'll
in
send you
advance.
right. This astrologer told me I need to get laid. This is gonna happen.
Put it in your calendar. Yeah, that's funny. So, let's see.
Well, as an astrologer, I'm always talking about sex. I love sex. I love people having sex, consensual sex, obviously. But, I think, sex is a power. It's a confidence. It's a beautiful thing, especially being shared with someone that you love. So, I think, hopefully everyone has the opportunity to truly find that.
I would definitely not want to get pregnant right now and have a baby during COVID, though. It'd be like so nerve
I feel like a
wracking.
lot of people are.
Because you have to go
Yeah.
in.
All these things like, I'm pregnant. I'm like, whoa, okay,
I
everyone's
know.
announcing.
Although
Yeah,
I,
like the theme of the month.
I go
Yeah.
into my obstetrician's office every 4 months for my hormone pellets, and which keep me frisky, by the way, girls.
Yes.
And guys. And they, it's just like the hospitals are used to it. They always wear masks and gloves, and they clean everything, and you have paper, and it's not like, and they make us have social distancing, and they make you wait in the car until it's your turn to come up. It's not a big deal. And the babies don't get it apparently. So, but I mean, I obviously wouldn't want to get COVID-19 while I was pregnant. That would be kind of scary. And
Yeah.
so maybe she should. When is her eclipse?
PSA, there are cases of newborns and infants getting COVID and dying from it. So
Really?
just everyone, yep, 100%. So just be really, really careful.
really
It's
sad.
not just the weak or the immunocompromised, healthy people, babies, all sorts.
Yeah.
So don't take any chances.
Okay.
Well, her eclipse is going to be November 30th, so there's going to be a huge redirection in her life at that time.
Rex is telling us he wants us. He's under the table farting and trying to get my attention, huh?
He's like, Mommy, I want to be a star.
He does. He would have. He's pretty big already. Okay, let's see. Let's talk to a guy. Russell.
Hey, Susan, Kyle, and Calise. How are you guys?
I'm assuming you're a guy.
Good.
I shouldn't, assume, but
Yes, I actually spoke with y'all on the predictions.
Oh, you did?
Sure.
Oh, I
So
thought you.
thanks for putting me through again.
Oh
yeah.
yeah, you asked about predicting for police and racial issues. That was a good question. Thank you. We really appreciate it. That was on a previous show. Okay, Calise, he wants to know if anything big is coming up in his life.
Oh, okay, cool. Let's have a look. So Russell right now. I keep seeing, I'm really being drawn to, I feel like I need to talk about something beautiful happening in April. So was there like a big celebration or birthday or like something with love that's just happened for you?
In April?
Yeah, it's okay if it isn't, because I could be picking up on the
I can't-
next April, but I feel like that's all right. Let me just tell you, I feel like love hasn't reached its full potential. So it's in the space of love and relationships, and I am starting to feel like it's still coming. It's next year, and Carl can go specifically on the dates with this. But I feel like there's a big blossom in your heart chakra that hasn't happened yet, and that people around you will start to know your name. So you're going to be known in your community more, and whether you're doing this with volunteer work or intentional work, I just feel like your name will be known more at work. So I see more recognition at work, and I see this sort of blossoming in the area of relationships. I feel like you haven't reached your financial potential yet either. So you're very careful with your money and you're very good at budgeting, but I feel like I need to say there is more money coming. So start learning about investing, start thinking about properties, start thinking about where you could put money if it came to you in larger chunks, because I feel like there's another wave of income and another wave in your career that's about to bloom and blossom as well.
Wow.
Well, it's interesting because I watched Christina's podcast that you were on, Susan, the other day, and you were talking about your properties that you were buying and renting out. And I had been thinking about doing something like that for a long time, buying a place that I could use every once in a while, but generate some rental revenue to offset their mortgage and just get the appreciation.
Yeah, I didn't know it was going to turn into a business like that, but it's sort of been something I've done over the years since my kids went to college. And we bought an apartment for my daughter when she went to college or near her in New York, and then Drew got prostate cancer, so I ended up renting it to 72 families on Airbnb, which was against the law in New York. But we had to keep it alive, and then now it's a rental, and but we also have a family home that we rent, and I just it pays the bills, and it's a good source of income. And a lot of people just buy properties and they use them for Airbnb. And a lot of people are selling them now because they haven't been able to rent them and they can't afford the rent. So might be a good time to scoop up some good rentals, but I would suggest that you get something that has, it's kind of New York is really easy to sell on Airbnb because hotels are so expensive. Not now, but it should come back. But there are places like where Airbnbs are very much more popular now because you can quarantine there for 2 weeks when you get there. And also there's, I don't know. I went to Prague. I stayed in an Airbnb. I was there. I thought, geez, this would be a great place to have one, and then when I visit, I don't have to pay for it. But I don't know. Now the world is so different. There might be some opportunity for you. So you just have to go on Zillow.com and watch the prices and see what's for sale. And if you can buy something that's already furnished, you're better off. So you can get started. So thanks for calling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Thanks for putting me through. It was nice to speak with you guys. Kyle, you didn't have anything for Sagittarius?
Yeah, so we talked about last time. There was a very big focus on relationships shifting.
Yeah.
There's obviously this big focus at this point in time over the last couple of months in revising your relationships, but perhaps even like reconnecting with old people. When it comes to your career, I see that actually September is going to look pretty good for you, September, October. There is a new moon in your sector of career. Yes, career, sorry. This happens to be on September 17th. So in that time, usually people are like getting a promotion, taking, their ideas and enacting them, getting some sort of recognition. It always happens that there's going to be something in that nature. So I feel really good about that. I do sense that you're also just going to be increasing your income pretty generally this year. It's going to just kind of keep steam, kind of snowballing forward. So that's good. You should have already seen your income rise within the last year and a half. That is going to be really important for you. What else do I want to go into? I feel like, next year, I do see some travel for you next year. I don't really think it's going to be super overseas or anything.
I see travel for everybody next year.
Yes. But I do think you're going to travel next year. I think you're going to
We're all going to go.
I think you're going to relocate, actually, or move in, 2022. But, yeah, everything she was talking about really hits on very specifically. I remember when we were talking in the last session. Yeah, we talked a lot about that relationship energy and that income. So, I think those are the big themes. I really think at this point in time, you need to really step into your power and you need to really focus on what you want in your destiny and how you can grow and blossom, and that attracts the right kind of person to you. And then also make a very clear list of your boundaries and relationships so that you don't repeat past situations which did not validate you.
I want to thank Randy for the super chat for USD. I just made $4. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, we on YouTube. If you go to YouTube, you can send us money if you like the show. Great. So it's kind of cool. I made $150 the other day on one of Drew's shows. I was very happy. Yeah, I didn't even know it was there. Somebody set it up.
I love that.
That's so sweet. But Randy's one of our super fans, and he's always there, and I appreciate it a lot, Randy. But I want to know what the future of cruise ships is going to be. We spoke to a travel expert, and she was just like, yeah, it's nothing's opening up, and I've been reading up on it, and they're taking some of the older ships out of the ocean. Most of the Carnival older ships are going. They're scrapping them or they're selling them, and I don't know what's going to happen for that. Calise, do you see a future ever in cruising?
I do. Yeah, I'm a total germaphobe. So personally, if there were no more cruise ships, I'd be like, oh well, who cares? But I do feel they'll be back with new restrictions. And I have friends that have worked on cruise ships and had the time of their life. Everyone I know that's been on one loves it. But I feel like they will. I feel like there'll be less, and I feel like they'll have restrictions. But I don't see that industry.
It'll be more expensive, probably.
Yeah. Well, it's funny.
I think they'll just be smaller routes.
Yeah.
Smaller routes. Yeah. Well, the problem is once you get on them, if somebody breaks out with COVID-19, they have to quarantine everybody for 2 weeks on the ship.
Oh my God.
So you have to be
Exactly.
prepared to stay on the ship for 2 weeks. And it's not as luxurious because, obviously the food and, they dock it and you just have to sit there on a ship. I wouldn't mind, whatever. But I just think that it's changed the world. And every time we start coming out of it, we get another infection, right? And then everything gets closed down, and it's just such a back and forth. So
I literally, all of these predictions about when the explosions of it are happening, the outbreaks, all the restrictions are literally to the date in my articles. It's crazy,
You got to read his articles.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Kyle can get really specific with this stuff. If you want like specific dates
I
to
read
the
it.
second, he's your man.
So, but it said something about on the 23rd of December being sort of a breakthrough time or something. Because I remember it was the day after my birthday.
The thing that we're talking about, that I've alluded to before is this next great awakening. And the reason this is taking place is because over the last 200 years, we've had the great conjunction, which is between Jupiter and Saturn, throughout Earth signs, which is amplifying the power and establishing wealth and structure within Earth sign energy. So materialism, consumerism, all of that kind of big business energy has been very strong throughout the last 200 years. We've had the Industrial Revolution. We've been taking advantage of the Earth. All of these kinds of things have become more prominent. And the increase of billionaires, all of this kind of energy. Well, now for the next 150 years, these great powerful planets are going to be meeting in air signs. And this begins actually in December of this year. So it's the first great conjunction that we are experiencing in this air sign energy. Air sign energy is about mind, spirituality, intellect, science, technology, philosophy, astrology. All of this kind of energy is going to become more prominent. And the leaders of the entire world are going to be harnessing more of this energy going forward in the decades ahead. And so that's the thing here is that, obviously this transition, any transition, no matter what it is, people freak out because it's different than what they're expecting. And we love our comfort zone. And as we evolve, by seeing astrology, we can understand and then do the work on ourselves. And those who are ready and prepared are going to acclimate better and see faster results. And for instance, we've talked about this before, Capricorn, with having Jupiter in your zodiac sign this year, even though everything is crumbling for everyone in different ways, you're actually luckier and going to fare better than pretty much all of the other zodiac signs. So, especially
I'm a
if
white trash junkyard dog.
You're a goddess.
I lived through it all.
So
no COVID's gonna scare me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But and that's the thing
You
is,
gotta know your roots. You gotta know your roots.
So.
Drew, on the other hand, he's gonna be on a ventilator, but.
Oh gosh, don't say that.
I'm very upbeat and optimistic. Although I live with a Virgo, so it's every morning I get the woe is the world, situation. He's very concerned. Politically and economically and socially and health-wise, especially. He doesn't. It just everything's so upside down, and he's not controlling it. He has no control. Mm-hmm. I, on the other hand, look at it like, I don't know, it's time for change. Let's do something new. Why don't we do this? Why don't we do that? So every day I wake up.
Quick cheat sheet. Who are the air signs?
The air signs are Aquarius, Libra, and Gemini. It doesn't necessarily mean that these are going to become the most powerful people. It just represents that this energy is going to be infused in the collective and redistributed. This is where our priorities are going to shift. And that's why, it is funny because last week when we were talking about aliens and space travel and like all of that kind of stuff, well, yeah, there's going to be breakthroughs in the quantum field and, all sorts of, understanding of community and equality and all of that is going to just really grow. But is it going to happen right away? No, nothing happens exactly right away when you want to change. That's why it's a transition. That's evolution, you know? And it's hard, but it is beautiful when we go through that in an open heart and an open mind.
Thank you, Corey Clark, for the super chat on YouTube. We love you. Do you have a question? You can ask a question. Oh, and also Russ Savage, thank you so much. He said that was Russell. He just was on. He said, thank you for putting me through again. He just gave gave you $10.
Aww.
I know. Thank you.
Yeah,
we appreciate that. No, I have to give a shout out because I'm very happy that, But no, go ahead, you guys. I'm sorry. I didn't
for anybody, no matter what your zodiac sign is, I post all sorts of predictions on my website for the whole year, for each month, which is kylethomasastrology.com. Just check it out. You do some looking into what's going on with you. And I always find astrology is a strategy. It helps you. It's a guide, and it's predictive, but it's also productive if you are, that you can make more money, well, then do it, or if you know that love is going to be there, don't sit on your couch. I mean, unless you're like quarantining.
If they go to kylethomasastrology.com, they sign up and then you can get your chart made and.
Well, I do personal readings as well. That is definitely one of my services. But I even produce so much free content out there because I just want to spread the awareness and the love, So, take a look at that and use it as a guide. And then obviously, when you want to consult a professional like Calise or I, we can help guide you. We can really talk about your personal path and help give you the answers that you may need. We are here of service.
It down to you as a person.
Yeah.
But those global predictions are fascinating. And I feel like it's always nice to know what's going on around you because you can make informed decisions on your own.
Absolutely.
But then, when it comes to little things that only affect you, like decisions in your workplace or your relationship, that's when the one-on-one tends to be a little more effective.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So Calise is at CaliseSimone.com. And you can also get a psychic reading from her. She doesn't do it for free though. She only does it for free from me. So if you get a psychic reading here, you get a taste of it. And she's in Australia, so she works on a different time zone. You have to book it. Probably.
I'll be back in New York soon.
Yeah, when is that? When are you gonna?
In about, I'd say in the next 6 weeks, probably. Within the next 2 months, I'll be back in New York. Yeah, back in the US time zone. Look, every reading, everything you get with anyone is an energy exchange. So, it's always.
She can do it over Skype and Zoom or whatever. But also, I'm going back to New York, I hope, in August. They just opened up the Hudson Yards restaurants. They're actually starting to let people in again. Wow. So that means that, we can get out and support our local businesses and hopefully they'll stay open. And, the whole city is changing the way that like that woman who's making candles in COVID times, like she's entrepreneurial. They're all reinventing their restaurants and reinventing their businesses for takeout and fast service and, COVID-free service. So I really look forward to seeing New York rebuild itself and come back. And, Pasadena, if you is everybody wears masks here. Orange County, not so much, but I think in New York also there's a huge amount of people that are very careful about their mask wearing because they just don't have the infection rate right now. So I'm hoping that stays the same for New York. So if you're in New York, keep it up. Good job. Like, it's amazing. And if you also want to, hook up with Calise, she works the city.
I'm single, yeah. No, I'm kidding.
When that came out, I was like, oh, you're single? Okay. No. She's also single. If anybody's
reading, please go to CaliseSimone.com or you can email me, contact@CaliseSimone.
And then available guys out there? I know we have some.
Well, Calise, I actually sense that there's a big opportunity for you to move around September 1st. So there's like a big transition around that point in time.
And the MTV,
we have to talk.
The MTV VMAs are actually going to go on in Brooklyn. This in
really?
September, at the end of August. Yeah. So, unfortunately, Teen Mom is not going to know about the reunion until after Labor Day, but that would be after, obviously, they have the VMAs about that time. So I may go, we may go to that. I don't know, just to do something.
That'll be fun.
But Yeah, no, but I mean, Cuomo's opening up certain things for the public. Hopefully, they don't change their mind. If people keep wearing masks and they just keep the city from infection, and we don't let anybody in from any other state, it's like, I mean, they're pretty much doing that now. They're saying you have to stay for 2 weeks. Who quarantines for 2 weeks when they get to New York unless they live there? There's not really. The hotels are still closed, and many of them, and the there, because I have a friend who runs a couple of hotels in New York, and he's running them from home. They're not opening up yet. So as a traveler, and then also the Broadway is probably not opening until January. So they have to put it off. It's kind of strange. I'd like to see it, wouldn't you, Calise? Like, just to get to go and just walk down an empty street. So it's just strange.
Being in New York for as long as I have, I've seen Christmas and New Year's where it clears out a little bit, and I don't know how I feel about returning. I mean, I'm excited to be back in my home of New York, but I'm also a little bit nervous about the energy and the situation there. It will be a lot. So
I'm nervous too.
I'm hesitant.
I'm very nervous, but they're okay. So like 4th of July, they're doing a surprise Macy's fireworks show every night in a different location, but nobody's allowed to know, so they won't congregate. So,
I saw that, yeah.
And then my daughter has been cooped up in her apartment for 3 months in Brooklyn, so she's gonna go to the Hudson Yards, and she's gonna get over there and for 4th of July and try to see if she can see the fireworks. So, because we have a building where we can see pretty much everything, but I talked her into it. So I'm, and she's going to tell me what it's like. So I'm nervous to go back, but I want to help rebuild New York. I want to get affiliated with some charities in the area when we get back, since, Drew's got a new sort of lifestyle now. He's not working as much, and none of us are. We're just doing these live shows, and I look forward. I want to kind of get affiliated with something to help rebuild the city, and maybe.
Yeah, I think we'll have to see what state it's in when we get there, because it is really important to understand that the rules are there to protect us. And so if they still have lockdowns or quarantines,
it might be like in January or February or anything. But I just want to see New York
that
get
idea,
back on its feet.
To help rebuild. And yeah, that sounds great.
I mean, there's got to be some community stuff. I haven't decided what it is yet, but it's just sort of in my future. I want to be more affiliated with the New Yorkers. So, because I feel like they've taken it the hardest, for sure.
So far, yeah.
I mean, the whole city is empty. It's just bizarre. I mean, so is Pasadena, but Pasadena's so small. That's not unusual. It's always boring on it. They roll up the sidewalks at 9:00 during the week. So, but it's just going to be interesting. It's going to be like a big hurricane just was going to come through or something. But to see Times Square is just open is just you kind of like want to run through it naked or something. It's like a snowstorm, a really good snowstorm. So anyways, I want to thank you, Calise, so much for your time, and I hope that we do this again soon. And once again, you can find her at CaliseSimone.com and on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook at Calise Simone, as you see under her name. And then Mr. Kyle Thomas, the astrologer, you can find him at astrology.com and also kylethomas.com. And
KyleThomasAstrology.com is my website.
Yeah, go there. Oh, I didn't do that right. And then, check them out, contribute, and make connections. It's important. We need to psychically or virtually. It's just a good thing.
Well, thank you also for having us. You give people a platform that I know a lot of people really appreciate, and I know that we do as well. So all of your hard work, your effort, your beautiful studio, and your energy as well.
Thank you.
We appreciate you, and we love you.
Thank you, Susan. Thanks for having us on the show.
Find all the cool podcasts on drdrew.tv.
can stop.